Alrighty. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, January 27th, 2025. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happened yesterday. I do want to mention that on Friday, I did warn you guys that we got our first signs for the bears. So for the last couple days of the week last week, if you guys recall, we didn't have any sign for the bears. So we were expecting the market to continue to push for pretty much most of the week. I think maybe not on January 21st as we came in, expecting that pullback. But overall, looking for the bulls until we got to Friday. And on Friday, that's where I told you that we started to get our first clues for a pullback. And what happened here? The market opened. It did go long for a couple points, came right to our roadmap level to the tick. In fact, we were trading live at that time, and I'm very sad I didn't just go ahead and take that short. But right to that roadmap level, the high of Friday was basically the roadmap level to the tick, and that began the sell-off. So Friday had a little pop out of the open, and then pretty much right around when the market opened, we came to 62, and that began the sell-off. So we warned you about the sell-off, and then when we came in on Globex last night, look at how far the market has made it. We've actually came right down. If you look, this blue line right here is the 61.8 retracement of the entire push from the low of January 12th or 13th there. So we get the big push out. We get this big sell-off. Again, we started to get our clues on Friday morning for the pullback. And now here we are bouncing just in front of the 61.8. So once again, cookie crumbled basically exactly how we expected it to. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happened on Friday. Look at some of the details here. There's just so much volume here in the overnight session. Just look at that big sell-off. And then we bounced. Remember, I gave you a zone here right in this pocket from about 55 to 60 that made sense for a higher time frame bounce. And sure enough, we're coming right into that pocket, admittedly not bouncing inside of it, but basically holding that general area. And we got the bounce right off the major structure zone. So let's look at some of the details here from Friday before the big sell-off really started to transpire. But as you can see, here's how Friday happened, right? We were expecting the pullback. The market opened, came right to 61.62. First roadmap level on the chart, expected resistance, and we got ourselves a 40, 50 point pullback from there. So let's look at some of the stuff we did here out of the open. Market opens, basically holds the first roadmap level, comes up right to the next roadmap level. On the way up here, it was just a little too messy for me to find an entry. Nothing sexy enough for me. However, this right here, like I said, I'm a little sad I didn't just go ahead and kind of try it because we were getting a little bit of bearish divergence as it was testing on the first test. But what I was kind of expecting was this pullback, all right, to our moving average for a pop up for a slightly higher high or a retest of the high. That's where I was wanting to look for a short. So I missed out on the first test, and that really was the best trade of the day, as you can see. Never came back, sold off 40, 50 points from there. So I did try. Again, I wanted to see if I could scalp this up to the new high. And then if I started to see what I wanted to see, I was going to try that fade, but it didn't happen. So we pulled back a little deeper. Again, I was expecting a retest of that region. It never happened. So I got another scalp off. Again, I got a scalp off here. Didn't get a nice full trade. Got a scalp short here as we were pulling back because I was targeting right to the 200 in the previous daily high. And got another scalp there. So I got 3 scalps off. And then we continued to sell off. And then I tried a long right from the VWAP. Got another scalp off. And then notice where we rejected right off the back end of the 200 moving average. And you can see these trade setups were all divergences off of our key levels, right? So bullish divergence off the fast moving average, expecting a retest of the morning high. As it started to really pull back, I noticed the bearish divergence off this swing high right around FMA, expecting us to pull back at least to maybe test the low, if not down into the 200, and we got down there. And then I saw the counter signal for the bulls off the 200 and tried that, expecting the market to try and retest the high of the morning. Never got there. And then we got a little deeper, so I tried again to see if we could get back up to test that high. Of course, that was the beginning of the pullback. So we've got this short here. Had they have not come all the way back up to basically come back to my entry, which is such a textbook thing that happens. It's very frustrating. Had they have not come right back to my entry, I would have been short here and captured the whole sell-off from this entry right here, basically to the tick from the swing high. So unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Some days it'll sell off from here, never come back, and I'll get a nice full 20-pointer out of it. So as you can see, we hold this right here, counter to my long, was a great short opportunity. And we were trading here. I think there was a couple of us in the room. We were on Twitch. And had you played this, which was a bearish divergence off the back end of the 200 in a pullback, you could have got a basically 0-point risk trade and that was it. Never came back, right? Just kept selling off from there. As far as I know, have to eat my words there. So sold off, but you got yourself a really healthy trade, right? So then from there, you can see another tag of the 200 on the way down, and then a tag of the back end of the VWAP and the 200 as they continue to try and sell the market off. There were some long opportunities off each roadmap level, right? The first one being the previous daily high, second one being VWAP, third one here being the previous daily close, where if you bought on either low, they were both divergences and they both gave you a nice 3-4 point pop. Right? I think this case you actually got a 5-pointer out of it. So good shorts here. If you were thinking on the short side, trading the back end of the 200 and our roadmap levels the whole way down, you get another bearish divergence off that test with that. That's kind of the stuff I like to see. So when we come back up into it and we get that slightly higher high, we get the divergence. Now that might mean it's just pulling back 2 points back to the FMA for the bounce, but a good spot that could be the next major failure point, right? So a good short from there, which was, if you look here, this is like the major division point, right? Kind of the holding to the upside, holding all the swings to the downside. And then we came up only to push and get a lower high for the day. And this right here would have been a good area to start to look for a short, noticing that we're now following through in the direction of our bias. And you didn't have to take the high. What I'm saying here is the 3-minute would have showed a nice bearish signal on the lower high for the day. And then you could have started looking for a short from there if you wanted. But long opportunity right here would have been a great trade opportunity. A whole bunch of bullish divergence testing a major roadmap level plus the 200. In this case, you didn't get much more than 1.5 points out of it, right? So that was a really good opportunity, just didn't go anywhere. And then we got a bit choppy there for a little bit. And I actually hesitated on this trade. I wanted to take this short. And I saw us coming up here. And I don't know what happened. I don't think I hesitated to put the trade on. I think I was doing something, and by the time it came up here and made the double top and pulled back, I had just looked at the screen type crap. So that would have been a beautiful short. Again, testing the major roadmap level, bearish divergence, get in short. You have about 3 or 4 ticks of risk if you get filled quick enough, and you capture this whole sell-off. Now, no guarantee, right? This could have been just like this trade right here. We came in, we bounced, didn't go anywhere, and rotated, but we nailed the rotation. So you shouldn't be taking a lot of risk if it comes back against you, right? So great short there, and then we start on the larger pullback of the day, holding the back end of VWAP on the way down, holding that fast moving average, and then cutting down through all these levels, right? And notice the biggest bounce in the morning was 1 tick in front of Hopeful. I didn't really talk about a trade there because we didn't come into it. But once again, I mean, come on, guys, 1 tick away, the Hopeful being pretty much the largest bounce of the morning before we get the slightly lower high compared to the high of the morning, and then got the sell-off, right? So I didn't mention that, but again, damn near perfect rotation off Hopeful, which happens multiple times a week. Can't say it's going to happen every day. So on the way down, holding the FMA, bearish divergences on these spikes. It was all the way down, and then this here was a beautiful bearish divergence at the 200. Again, 2 ticks away, so it is what it is. Might not have been filled on that. And then they bring it down, bearish divergence off of the roadmap level there. to the tick and continued selling off. Getting towards the end of the day here on Friday I think there was just a little bit of a bounce. So they come in. Unfortunately, we didn't get a nice bounce off 50% of the day before, but starts to hold below it. Once it gets below, only to get back above, try to hold above it, then pulls back below it. You can see how many times in here, again, it's choppy, but how many times did they come to the tick or within 2 or 3 ticks right to the roadmap level and rotate right off of it? I mean, all through here, right? That test, I won't count this one because it did go through by less than 2 points. So all of these rotations right off of 61.28 were actionable trades you could have taken long and short. I don't know how many times here, and then finally we hold, and get the bounce, right? So even though it looks messy around the roadmap level, it's still coming right to it and using it as a major resistance and a major support when they get back appreciably back above it. So you can see some decent opportunities in there. If you were trying shorts off of there because we were selling off, should have been able to get your scalp off. And then once we got back above here, hold the 200, bullish divergence. We get the pop at the end of the day. And then they pull back right to it at the end of the day for another trade opportunity off our roadmap level. Again, not giving you a 30-point trade, but a 5-point bounce to finish the day off, right? So unbelievable stuff if you ask me. Then we come into the overnight session here coming into this week now. We get this gigantic gap lower here, right? And now here we are getting close to the open. And on the way down here, if you guys haven't noticed, back end of the first roadmap level was the resistance here. I think they came up and failed 1 tick in front of it and then could never get through it. Came down. Beautiful, beautiful short opportunity here last night, right off the roadmap level and the fast moving average with bearish divergence in the direction of a big failure in the market. Again, how much risk? Couple ticks gets you the next 10-pointer to the downside. And in the overnight session, late in the last couple hours of the night, they hold the back end of 50% of last week. Roadmap level for a nice short with bearish divergence. Again, not getting you a huge trade there, but you should have got your scalp off. And tried to kind of pop out, only to fail. And you can see again, holding the back end of the roadmap level, getting above it, holding it to the upside, and then back down below, and then tags it for a nice sweet little kiss for the next rejection down. And now we've just been selling off real heavy over the last couple hours, all through the overnight session here. You can see so aggressive that they never even made it back to the fast moving average for a couple hours here. And then there's your tag. Again, another opportunity. Here's the swing low of the overnight session up until that point. They come back up to it. You've got your FMA. You've got your bearish divergences. Continuation. Same thing here off the FMA. Same thing off the FMA here. Same thing off the back end of the roadmap level here. Come all the way down. Now this level was an unofficial level that I've had on the chart for a couple months now, maybe. At 6,007, that happened to be the next to the tick bounce of the night. We didn't make it official because we did have 2 other roadmap levels close by, and I thought it was just kind of like a little, almost like a bifurcation of the 2 levels where we see a lot of reactions in the past. But that ended up becoming the low of the overnight at that point. And then they sold off from there, kept selling off. And here we go, back end of the roadmap level, right? Get a little bounce off the next roadmap level, holding the back end of the FMA the whole way down. And then we get this bounce. And this is that bounce I mentioned earlier this morning, basically off the 61.8 retrace of the whole leg, right? Just a couple point or 2 in front of it, held the roadmap level. That would have been a long with, again, maybe 2 points of risk. And now here we are back up 60 points. So on the way up here, again, notice all these rotations are right off these roadmap levels. They bounce back and forth inside of them. They get above it. They use it as a next support. And we'll go ahead and speed this up a little bit. So it's been a nice rally. There's a nice short with bearish divergence off the 200. Okay, I hope you guys are getting some of these trades because I show you them all day long. And yeah, they're not going to work every time, but I hope you're getting some of these and you're getting a nice follow through. Kept going, held the 200 on the way up here. And now as we get to current time, you can see we're getting a little bit of a pullback here. I watched this double top form, just didn't want to jump in. And now here we are pulling back, and there is your textbook bearish divergence off the back end of the 200 and the roadmap level for one tick of risk, and it's now down to 96. So you should be almost at a 5-point profit if you tried that just a couple minutes ago. And that concludes our review here. So again, just so many good opportunities every day, guys. Some days aren't going to be great. Remember, a couple days ago, I took 2 stop outs in the first half hour of the open, and I just walked away. So it's not like this is just you hit every trade. You're going to have losses. You're going to have days where nothing is working, and that's just the nature of trading. You have to be emotionally aware of when you start to just kind of get a little off the rails with your trading. You start to worry about money instead of just waiting for your setups and accepting that some days things just won't work out. So let's look at the higher time frames here.